So today, I'm talking to you about letting go of the habits which have been holding us back, and also the repeating of issues and problems, the patterns ultimately, which are keeping us stuck. You see, we will keep on doing what we've always done unless something begins to transform. Let me explain that. Habits, whether that be psychological or emotional habits, from the anxieties to the fears to the limiting beliefs, the worries, the doubts, they will keep on happening, and they will actually get stronger because the continuation of them existing. You see, if you do something once, then you do something twice, the same thing 3 times, 4 times, where it'll be over a week, a month, and we keep on doing the exact same thing, it becomes a habit. It becomes an unconscious process. Just like when you first started to drive, you got in the car, you were trying to figure things out consciously, and figuring out the steering wheel, the speedometer, the gears, the wing mirrors, the people on the outside of the vehicle. It was very overwhelming at first, but over time, what began to happen, well, you do things unconsciously. You go into the car now, and for the most people who enjoy driving and do it on a daily basis, they don't even think about it. They just drive because it's an unconscious habit and process, and it's the exact same thing with our issues. If you keep on repeating the same patterns, the same habits at an unconscious level, they're only going to become more ingrained. On a neurological level, the brain will be able to tighten up the neural networks, the neuroplasticity in your brain. It will just keep on going, and the neuroassociations as well. Very much like Pavlov's dogs. When he was feeding the dogs, he would ring the bell first, and he would keep doing it, and as soon when he rang the bell, the dogs would begin to salivate, if that's a word. They used to get saliva, and that's a biological process. And that is what is happening within us if we're running the same patterns, the same issues continuously and continuously. Now, I know that because I've been there. I used to be so anxious and so worried. Many of you know my story, and that's how I got into doing what I do. I went on this mission to actually let go of my own issues. I was very unhappy in my job. I had all the anxiety, the low self-esteem, the fears, the doubts, probably like many of you may be experiencing right now. I know that because I've been there, and I was repeating the same habits, and it got to the point where I thought, something has to change. I can allow my past to keep on dictating my future, or I can do something else, because it will keep on repeating. It will keep on doing the same old thing unless we give it a new direction. We give it something profound. We begin to direct our attention and intention to our desires. Most people think of all the things they don't want, right? So if you're experiencing anxiety right now, you're focusing on all the things you don't want to happen. That's natural because you don't want them to happen. If you have fears or phobias, you think of the fear and you think of the most horrible aspect to that, and you feel it because you don't want that to happen. But the nature of thinking of all the things you don't want, we know increases it, expands upon it, and that is why issues not only become more concrete in our system, but they actually expand into different areas of your life. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed how the anxiety may have started maybe in your career, but then it creeps into socializing or in your relationships, even in your finances? So that association actually grows. It gets stronger, the nature of doing so. But the good news is this, right? If you start to create this new habit, if you start to have an awakening, if you make a transformation, you will go ahead and see something new. Your unconscious mind will see something new. And if you do that for a period of time, that neuroplasticity, the neural networks, all the connections start firing off this new habit. So we have to really understand that our past has got us to this moment. Based on the decisions that we've made in the past, consciously and unconsciously. I mean, I'm not putting blame on anyone, but what I am saying is our past has led us to this point. And we can allow our past to continue to lead us through the present moments all the way off into our future, doing the same thing. Or in this moment, we can choose something new. I fully know that in any moment we have the ability to make the biggest transformation. I call them like epiphanies. I call them breakthroughs. I call them this awakening inside of us. Now, I'm not saying it's easy to have those, but when we have one, it doesn't have to take forever. It can take just that one moment, that a realization that something has to change, that you become aware of those patterns. Now, you can now consciously be aware of those patterns because you know they're there, because they're showing up in your reality. You know you have issues or worries or doubts or whatever it is because they show up in your reality. Your perception of the world is creating itself based on our past experiences, the limiting beliefs we have, the limiting decisions we've made, our past memories, our personality types, all those things. We're creating this perception of what we think is real. But on the other hand, it is actually also illusionary. Yes, our situation may be very real, but the beliefs we have, which create our perception of what's happening, is completely created on the inside. Now think about that. Someone who has a belief of not being worthy sees the world completely differently from someone who believes they are worthy. They may have even gone through the exact same situations. In fact, the person who believes they're worthy may have even gone through a crazier past. That happens. There are many people in this world who have gone through so many traumas and have actually come away with an empowered experience of personal empowerment. Other people, on the other hand, will naturally not go like that. They will actually have limiting beliefs and limiting decisions. I mean, I talk about Viktor Frankl, who's was in the concentration camps quite a lot. I mean, have you ever read Man's Search for Meaning? It's a great book. And how he went through that situation, yet rather being so disheartened, he actually saw something different. He said, when we are unable to change the situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Let me say that again. When we're unable to change the situation, our present environment, we are challenged to change ourselves. What does that mean? It's a decision. It's a decision to do something with our life. It's a decision to do something. We don't even have to know how to do it. But it's that critical decision in this moment. As I said, this moment is incredibly powerful. This one moment right here that we're sharing together can be the critical difference that makes everything transform. It can be the one thing, the big one thing, which will allow you to live a life of emotional freedom. Now, obviously, I'm building that up, but that is just a reality. That is something which can happen. Of course, we need certain components. Sometimes we need training. I mean, you know me, right? I give away a lot of things. In fact, if I open up my app right now, it won't be by the time this is actually released on my podcast, but if I open up my app, which of course I have on my phone because I listen to it too, but if I look at it right now, I've done 144. This will be going out on my podcast. 345 in total it will be. 344 right now. So you know that I like to give. I'm doing these freely. I buy equipment to do these things. I really want to be able to help you in the most freest way I possibly can. That has always been my mission from the start. That is what I try to do. Now, of course, that can take you so far. So that means you might be listening to other podcasts. Great. I have no competition in my mind. I just want you to succeed. So if you get value from other things, other books, other people, perfect. Sometimes you need that more one-to-one attention from me. And that is the service that I do as well. But if you consider, if you're adding things into your life, you're tipping the balance from attention on the negative to the attention on the new things you're bringing in, the new wisdom, the new coaching that you're getting, like immersing yourself in my podcast or my hypnosis or my group sessions and all those things or any other thing is great. And each one of those that you listen to, you have an opportunity to do what? To make a decision. In fact, you have the ability to make a decision in any circumstance. When you're completely under stress, you have a decision. Some people will have a breakdown because they're ready for a breakthrough. They're ready, that everything's so bad in their life that they make the decision that something has to change. The alcoholic who's drinking so much suddenly has enough with it and goes, I'm going to go on the journey of transformation. I'm going to do something with my life and actually claim the power. For the person who's been a victim all their life, that can be a pattern, right? That can be a pattern where they're going from being the victim. Through time, they can get so low, they can have that breakdown, and that leads them to what? The breakthrough, where they go, I'm not going to be a victim, I'm going to be a victor. I'm going to be the victor of my life. I'm going to make things happen. Rather life happening to me, Joseph, I'm going to make life happen on my behalf. I'm going to consciously and unconsciously create something special. Why? Because I owe it to myself, my heart, my future, my children, my family, my career, my finances, my health, all those things. When you get those reasons and you have enough reasons to change, and you have enough reasons because of the symptoms that you're experiencing right now to change, you have and you lead yourself to a time when you make a decision. In any moment, there are opportunities. In any moment, there's an opportunity to do something. That could be to invest in something. It could be to make a decision to cut someone out of your life who's been bringing you down. It could be a decision to save money. It could be a decision to find and look for that job. It could be a decision to go, I am done with not feeling good enough. I am done of not feeling worthy. I'm done with the bad relationships. I'm putting my foot down. I'm creating something special instead. You know what? I'm going to create the best relationship with myself, which means I have the greatest rapport with myself, the greatest communication with myself and my unconscious mind, that it becomes my best friend and it begins to listen to me, rather it spiraling out of control and doing all these subconscious and unconscious processes and patternings I've always been repeating. But in any given moment, you and I have a decision. You have a decision to do something. Even if that decision is saying out loud, I am done with fill in the blank. I am done with the past. I am done repeating with all these things. This breakdown I'm having right now will be my awakening to my breakthrough. This way of living as a victim, will right now, and I'm going to crush it. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to put the effort in. I'm going to educate my mind. Rather just going through life, I'm going to start to educate it. I'm going to start to get the insight that I apply. I'm going to get that information, that knowledge, but then I'm going to understand it by applying it. I've had people in the past who said, my stuff hasn't always worked. I get that. But then I sometimes ask questions about that, because I'm curious, right? Because why does someone make the complete change compared to someone who makes a good change and someone who may make no change? Because there has to be a difference, right? There has to be something missing there. So it makes me think what that could be. Is it that that person is getting a gain from the issue? Like they're getting more a basic level of protection than the alternative of being free, which means they go out into the world and really put themselves out there, which seems scary. Maybe that could be one thing. Maybe, which I've actually seen this in the past, I've said, have you done this? I mean, right now I've released my 7-day Kickstart transformation, right? I mean, you haven't got it, you're missing. If you don't want transformation, then you don't listen to it or watch it. But I've released this 7-day Kickstart transformation. It's a video course. I put a lot of time and effort into it. And I was speaking to this person, and they said they haven't seen changes. And I said, oh, you listen to the Kickstart. And I followed them up, and I said, have you listened to the Kickstart yet? And they went, nah, I'm too busy, Joseph. And I'm like, seriously? There's this program which someone has put all their love into it, which will guide you to your success. Will give you that information. I mean, whatever that person does with it is up to them, but if you listen to it and apply it, you will see transformations. And there's that person complaining that something is not changing in their life when they're not putting the effort or the time, even when they're not even investing any money. So we have to ask ourselves, what is missing? What is it that I'm not doing, which other people are doing to create changes? Maybe it's, I'm not asking people for advice. I'm not asking for that person who is confident or knows the answers. I'm just staying here and I'm going blind. And that's what I did in my business for a long time. I was just doing things out. And then I started to model people who were getting their name out there, and I started to apply that. So maybe that's the one thing we awaken to, the decisions, the ideas, the learnings. But whatever it is, in any given moment, you have an opportunity to transform. You have the ability, everyone has the ability, especially you, because you're listening to this with an issue maybe in mind. And as you listen to that in your mind, you're thinking, okay, Joseph, I understand you. I'm going to realize this. I'm going to apply this. I know that my past has led me to this point, and based on what I do in this moment, Joseph, I know something can happen. If I make that decision from being a victim to a victor, from a breakdown to a breakthrough, change my perspective that I'm going to do something, and then we start to apply that information. We start to create change. We stop repeating patterns. We stop repeating the past habits because now we're creating something new. We're creating something special. We're creating a relationship with our unconscious mind. We're getting it on our side. The conscious mind is the goal setter, and the unconscious mind is the goal getter. So we must live out with that passion, that perseverance, to have patience that transformation happens. Yes, the decision can happen right this second, but that habit can take some time. So if you fall down, it's just an opportunity to get back up, to learn from it, to adapt, to become flexible in your behavior. When you begin to see your mind as not something which is fixed or broken, because you're not broken. You might feel like you're broken, but you are not broken. You are just doing a certain strategy. You are running a behavior which may feel like your identity. Even a belief of I am not good enough is not your identity. That is not who you are. That is a behavior that you're running. And that behavior, like anything else, no matter how big you see your problem, can and will be changed if you figure out that strategy and you begin to break it down. You get that inside information, you start to apply that information, you realize it, not just understand, but you realize it, and you bring it to life. You see, I could work with you right now, right? You could just, if we had a teleportation, you're right with me. I could help you get you to where you want to be. I get my results quick, and I'm not saying that to impress you. I'm saying that because I've done this for 16 years now, teaching and training for that amount of time and helping people, and I know how the mind works. So if you were here right now, I could get that result in one session usually. Sometimes 4 sessions, but usually the one session, that's all it takes. Or if you're on something like Mind Mastery, you not only let go, but you achieve all the other goals that you've been wanting. But the question is, that person who comes to see me, they are the change maker. I am the guide. Everything that I do is a guide to something. It's a step-by-step process usually. And depending on the person's responsibility to take on information, to apply, to understand, and to realize, that is the difference which makes the difference. As I said, like Viktor Frankl in the book Man's Search for Meaning, when he's in the concentration camps, he's saying, when I'm no longer to change a situation, I am challenged to change myself. It was not about the external world. It was about the person. It was about the person who instigated transformation, who instigated change. The Martin Luther Kings of this world, people may have seen that happening, but not everyone chose to stand up. But it takes one person to step up and stand up to instigate that transformation. Then other people will see an opportunity. Then other people will go, actually, this is wrong. I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to join that movement. And you can say that for anyone who's making a big breakthrough. It did not happen to them. They created that. They instigated, they self-initiated transformation. And those small steps that people take through that perseverance, through that patience of being gentle on yourself, through that purpose, through that passion for what is right. Because let me ask you this. Is it your right to be happy, to have emotional freedom? Of course it's your right to. But it's also the person's right to stay the same. That is why I can't make people change. I can try to inspire them. I could try to be an example of transformation. But it's down to the person which makes that choice. In that moment, that decision. That is power. That is empowerment. And that takes me out of the equation. Yeah, it's a group dynamic. It's a cooperative flow of ideas and energy. But it's about the receiver who does something with that information, which makes that decision. The decisive decision that I am more than this. I am worth more than this. And in that moment of power, and then the application thereafter, you see transformation. You see and experience the world the way it was meant to be. The kaleidoscope of beauty, of yourself and others, to the possibility of what can happen. Rather, why? It's like, how can I change? Not why am I like this, but how can I change? How else can I improve? You see those small steps from the byproduct of that decision, you begin to unfold the path as to where you're heading. You might not see the path right now, but it begins to unfold by making that decision. But you know the present path, right? The repetition, the repeating, the habits. You know that's a given right now. But that decision changes the direction. And in any moment, you have a choice to choose something new. Your unconscious mind might be holding on tight for a while, but you can still consciously change. You can still consciously grab your unconscious mind with the most empowered love and say, look, this is the new plan. This is the new map of my world. These are the new direction I'm putting in like a satellite navigation to make this happen. So realize your power. Be ready, open, and decide for a breakthrough. No one else can make that happen. You can attract people. You can invite me into your life. But even then, you have to be receptive. You have to follow certain sequences. But realize this. Your issue, even no matter how big it is, that emotional or psychological issue, is simply, and I'm saying simply, not overestimating the trauma it brings, but it is simply a strategy. It's a strategy that your system is running through a period of time which has led us to this moment, but we can break that strategy, create a new decision to then create new habits and behaviors, and equally, that new habit, that simple strategy, on the flip side can give you the most emotional freedom. But they are both simply habits. simple strategies. They're not even complex strategies. Yeah, they may have come from trauma. I'm not taking away any of the effect of the behavior or the strategy. But what I am saying is it is simply a habit, behavior, strategy that your brain is running, and you have the power to do something about it. You have the power to transform. You have the power to inspire. You have the power to live a life that you dream of, that you emotionally want, that you want that freedom. Money, health, relationships, career, whatever it is. Spiritually, religiously, I don't really care what it is for you, but what I do care about is you. And what you want. So realize, not understand, but realize in any moment, anyone, and especially someone as awesome as you, has the ability to choose something new. And I'm not going to say that it's easy. I'm not going to even say if it's going to be hard. But I'm going to say this. Anyone who works with me can say it can be enjoyable. It can be this experiential, beautiful thing, an unfolding thing that allows you to not have to face all those traumas, but just transform by education, learning, and realizing, by applying the steps. So just contemplate that. What patterns am I running, repeating? And in this moment, what can I choose to be different, to do differently? And then, if you want to transform, you can do many sorts of things. I mean, I have some free, would you like some free options, right? Okay, so the first free option is this. You join the bloomin' Kickstart, okay? It's a free program. It's completely for free, 7 days. And I've made them so they're only 15 to 20 minutes long. And if you haven't got 15, 20 minutes of your time for the next 7 days, do not watch it. Your account will actually get shut down automatically. That's the way it works. But if you do really want to change, you make that decision and you go, I'm going to put 15, 20 minutes into educating myself, get the free Kickstart 7-day transformation. You can get it at josephclough.info/kickstart. Now the other option is this, entirely free once again. This Saturday, September the 3rd, if you're listening to this after the September 3rd, it will have passed. But it doesn't mean if you still visit the URL, then you will still be able to go on a wait list. But I'm doing a free coaching session, a webinar session, where I'm going to show you the only way to dissolve anxieties and get the confidence that you want. I'm going to give you some strategies of what you can instantly apply. Whatever you do with that is one thing, but it's up to you after that, right? I'm just the messenger. I'm just telling you what I know about, right? But that is something what you can do. Now that, like I said, that is this Saturday. It starts at 11 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Central time, 2 p.m. Eastern time, and 7 p.m. London time. Now, in order to get that free option, you go to josephclough.info/power. So josephclough.info/power. I'm going to put the links on here as well, so don't worry about that. But those are two free options, right? One is the 7-day kickstart, josephclough.info/kickstart. Great pay it forward system. The other one is the free webinar coaching session where you can ask me questions online of a chat box, hopefully verbally as well. For an hour and a half of my time, you're going to be able to get my brain and my information. I've created everything magnificently to give that over to you. I've planned this for a long time. I'll hopefully do more in the future, but right now, this is the only one I got available, and that is Saturday, the September the 3rd, 11 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Central time, 2 p.m. Eastern time, and 7 p.m. London time. You have to work out the other time zones if you really want to be a part of it, but if you want that, go to josephclough.info/power. And the other one is josephclough.info/kickstart. Entirely for free. Okay, that you get that information. And I might be giving you opportunities to be able to take your life further, but Don't apologize over that, because some people want to be able to get closer to me and work with me more personally. So that's okay, right? It'll be a dishonor if I didn't do that. But if you take that information on either one of those programs, I know that you're going to get the success that you want. But always realize this: in this one moment, you can choose something new. Just always realize that you are worthy, capable, and good enough. And I look forward to speaking to you very, very soon. Many thanks and goodbye.